One woman, one letter, and the most important law in XRP's entire history just froze. She has never owned a single XRP. She probably never will. She isn't a trader, she isn't a whale, she isn't in Ripple, and yet, right now, Senator Elizabeth Warren may have more power over where XRP goes next than anyone on planet Earth. Let that sink in. For years, this community has painted her as the villain, the senator who hates crypto. And I get it. But I'm about to show you something that might make you deeply uncomfortable. Almost everything you've been told about her war is wrong. Because she's not actually fighting XRP. She's not even fighting Ripple. She's fighting a single number, $1.4 billion, and a name attached to it you would never guess. Here's the truth. You can hate her, you can love her. But if you hold XRP and you don't understand this woman, you are flying blind. So for the next 14 minutes, forget the price, forget the noise. Let me show you the real story, the one nobody has the guts to tell you straight. Let's dig in. Real quick, from me to you. I'm not a financial advisor, and this isn't financial advice. And today I'm going to be scrupulously fair to someone a lot of this community disagrees with, because understanding her is how you understand what happens next. No straw man, no cartoon villain, just the real picture from both sides. Do your own research, cool? All right, let's get into it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Crypto with BHW, where we tell it to you straight, with heart. Grab your coffee, get comfy, because today isn't about a price prediction. It's about understanding the single most important person in XRP's regulatory fight, so you're never caught off guard again. Let's go. All right, let's start with who she is, because you can't understand the fight without understanding the fighter. Elizabeth Warren is a U.S. Senator from Massachusetts, but that job title undersells her completely. She is the ranking member of the Senate Banking Committee, which means she's the single most senior Democrat on the exact committee that governs crypto legislation. When it comes to financial regulation on the Democratic side, she isn't a voice, she's the voice. And here's the thing you have to understand about her. She built her entire career, decades of it, on one identity: the consumer protection crusader. The person who goes after big banks, big finance, Wall Street, anyone she believes is taking advantage of ordinary people. That's not a costume she put on for crypto. That's her whole story, going back long before Bitcoin existed. So when crypto showed up, a new, fast-moving, lightly regulated corner of finance, she looked at it through that exact lens she's used her whole life, and she saw risk. Risk to consumers, risk of fraud, risk of the little guy getting hurt again. Now, whether you think she's right or wrong about crypto, and a lot of this community thinks she's dead wrong, you have to respect why she's effective. She's disciplined. She's relentless. She doesn't get tired. She doesn't get distracted. And she is extremely good at one specific thing: creating doubt. And in Washington, doubt is a weapon. Because you don't always need to defeat a bill. Sometimes you just need to make enough senators nervous enough to hesitate. And hesitation, when there's a deadline, can be just as deadly as a no. That's who's standing in the road. Now let me show you what she's actually trying to stop, because it's not what you think. Because here's where the whole "she hates XRP" story falls apart. When you actually read what she wrote, XRP is barely in the picture. What she's really aiming at is a number. Let me show you. Okay, this is the part that reframes everything, so stay with me. On July 13th, Warren sent a letter to Senate leadership. And in that letter, her central demand wasn't ban XRP or kill crypto. It was this: put guardrails in the bill that stop senior government officials, including members of Congress, and including the president, from personally profiting off the crypto industry while they're the ones writing its rules. And the number she anchored it to? Roughly $1.4 billion. That's the crypto-related income disclosed in the president's 2025 financial filing, tied to things like his meme coin and his family's crypto company. Some estimates put it even higher. So look at what she's actually doing. Her fight isn't XRP versus no XRP. Her fight is a conflict of interest fight. Her argument, in plain English, is you cannot write the rulebook for an entire industry while you're personally making over $1 billion from that same industry. That's a conflict, and the law needs to address it. And after the Republicans released updated ethics language on July 22nd, her committee staff put out an analysis calling it full of loopholes, arguing it wouldn't actually stop the president from making his next billion, and pointing out that enforcement would sit solely with the Department of Justice he appointed, while state attorneys general and private parties would be barred from bringing action. Now, here's my job: to be fair to both sides. Supporters of the bill push back hard on this. They argue Warren is using the ethics issue as a tool, a way to slow down or kill a bill she was always going to oppose anyway. Senator Lummis and others argue the crypto rules themselves are solid and shouldn't be held hostage over a political fight about one man. Both of those things can be true at once. The ethics concern can be genuine and be used strategically. That's politics. But the key takeaway for you as an XRP holder is this: the thing jamming XRP's clarity right now is not a debate about XRP. It's a debate about $1 billion conflict of interest at the very top. XRP is just caught in the blast radius. But the ethics fight isn't her only concern. There are 3 more, and if you want to actually predict what she does next, you need to understand all of them. Quick and clear, here they are. All right, let me give you the rest of her case, laid out fairly, because this is what actually drives her votes. Concern 1, consumer protection. This is her lifelong theme. She looks at crypto and sees people potentially losing their savings to scams, to collapses, to products they don't understand. Whether you agree with how far she takes it, this is a real and consistent principle for her, not a crypto-specific invention. Concern 2, illicit finance. She worries crypto can be used to move money for bad actors, sanctions evasion, criminal payments, money laundering. And she's not alone here. Even senators who support the bill, like Mark Warner and Catherine Cortez Masto, have tied their votes to getting the anti-money laundering language right. So this particular concern actually has bipartisan weight, which makes it one of the more serious obstacles. Concern 3, the stablecoin yield loophole. There's a fight over whether crypto platforms can offer interest-like rewards on stablecoins. The banking industry wants that closed. They fear deposits fleeing traditional banks. Warren aligns with tightening it. Quick one before we move on. Did you know it's the enforcement clause, not XRP itself, that Warren is really fighting? Type yes or no in the comments. I really want to see who knew that. So put those together with the ethics fight and you get her full picture. 4 concerns: conflicts of interest, consumer protection, illicit finance, and stablecoin yield. Notice what's not on that list? XRP is bad. Ripple is bad. She's not litigating the coin. She's litigating the framework around the whole industry. And that distinction is the single most important thing in this entire video, because it changes what you should actually be watching for. Now here's the question that actually matters for your bag. If she's this powerful, and she's this determined, can she single-handedly kill XRP's clarity? And the honest answer might surprise you. Let me break down the real math. Okay, deep breath, because this is where the fear needs a reality check, in both directions. Yes, Warren is powerful. Ranking member, disciplined, influential, great at manufacturing doubt. If this were up to her alone, this bill would be dead. Full stop. But here's the thing. It is not up to her alone. And this is the part the dim videos skip. Look at the actual math. To pass, Republicans need roughly 7 to 9 Democrats to cross over. And Warren doesn't control her whole party on this. 2 Democrats, Ruben Gallego and Angela Alsobrooks, already voted yes for this bill in committee back in May. They broke from her once already. That's not theoretical, it's on the record. And it gets more interesting. Even after criticizing the current ethics language, Gallego did not walk away. He's actively working with Republican Senator Tom Tillis on a counter-proposal right now. So while Warren is drawing hard lines, other Democrats are at the table trying to build a yes. That's a party that is split, not a party marching behind her in lockstep. So the honest picture is this. Warren is a massive obstacle, But she's a speed bump with influence, not a brick wall with a veto. She can create doubt, slow momentum, and pressure the moderates. What she cannot do is personally cast 7 votes. The bill's fate rests with a small group of persuadable Democrats, Warner, Cortez Masto, and others, and whether the negotiators can satisfy their specific, concrete asks. And that's actually the optimistic read hiding inside all this. Because if the blocker were the whole Democratic Party hates crypto, that's hopeless. But the real blocker is a handful of senators want specific language fixed, and specific language can be negotiated. That's a solvable problem. That's the difference between a wall and a door. So let's bring it all the way home, what this means for XRP specifically, and the exact things you should watch instead of panicking at the next scary headline. All right, let me give it to you straight, the way I'd tell a friend across the table. Here's the big reframe I want you to walk away with. When you see Warren nukes XRP on some thumbnail, and you will see it, with a fake tweet slapped underneath, now you know the truth. She's not nuking XRP. She's fighting a conflict of interest battle over $1 billion disclosure, and XRP is standing nearby. Understanding that difference is what separates you from the panic sellers. And why does this matter so much for XRP specifically? Because XRP, more than almost any coin, has been waiting years for the one thing this bill delivers: a permanent answer to the security versus commodity question. That's the fog that dragged Ripple through court and kept institutions cautious. Warren's fight is delaying the vote that lifts that fog, which is exactly why every XRP holder should understand her, even if they disagree with every word she says. So what do you actually watch from here? 3 things, and ignore the rest. 1. Does the ethics enforcement language get revised? The Gallego-Tillis counterproposal is the thing to track. 2. Do the real swing votes, Warner and Cortez Masto, get their illicit finance concerns met? They're the thermometer, not Warren. And 3. Does any undecided Democrat publicly flip to yes because the first crossover breaks the dam? And here's how I'd hold it emotionally. Don't fear Warren and don't hate her either. Just understand her. She's doing exactly what she's done her whole career, and she's good at it. But she is one senator in a chamber of 100, facing a party that's already shown cracks, on a bill that's already come further than any crypto law in history. Respect the obstacle. Don't mistake it for the end. Zoom out one last time. A couple years ago, XRP was fighting for its survival in a courtroom. Today, the biggest thing standing between it and permanent legal clarity is a negotiation over one enforcement clause, a solvable problem. That's how far we've come. That arc only points one direction over the long run. The pain doesn't last forever. It never does. So here's where I'll leave you, fam. One woman, one letter, $1 billion fight, and an XRP community that finally understands what's actually happening, instead of reacting to a fake headline. Whatever these next weeks bring, green or red, we walk through it together. Clear eyes, steady hands. Because that's what we do here. If this gave you a clearer picture than the panic channels, do me a favor, drop your honest take below. Do you think the negotiators find a compromise? I read every single comment. This has been Crypto with BHW, where we tell it straight with heart. Stay ready, stay hopeful, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.